Hello, I want to thank everybody for tuning into a special edition of Steel City Sports World. I'm Luther Dupree. Got my partner, Claudio Rosano, in the house. Got to give a shout out to Mike Migliore and Smoke and Jim Frazier. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers. They're both kind of down right now, but I expect to have everybody back in the house. So get well, Mike. Get well, Jim. We need you. Definitely need you here.
Miss you guys. It's not the same without you, for sure.
For sure.
We'll try to keep
we'll try
our
to do
end
what we
up.
can do.
That's it.
But we got a great show. Make sure you give us a call, 412-231-2288. A lot of stuff. I'm going to turn it over. What's your Steel City news, Claudia?
Well, obviously the big story of the week was what? Tiger Woods.
Oh, yeah.
The guy watched the last 2 days. And now he went up against the Italian guy, but that was all right. Tiger Woods did a great job, and I was happy for him. And you know what? The best of the best were up there. So it isn't like he wasn't going up against anybody. So congratulations to Tiger Woods, but more importantly, congratulations to golf, because now the needle's starting to move again.
Yeah.
But what's the phrase everybody's been saying? The greatest comeback in sports history, right? Well, a friend of mine begs to differ.
Okay.
You know who that is?
Who's that?
Vinny Paz.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Come on now. Tiger had the back problems, the knee problems,
the women problems.
The women problems. Okay, I wasn't going to say that.
Hey.
But then Vinny, okay, again breaks his neck. He was paralyzed. They said, Vinny, you're not going to. He said, I'm going to box. You're not going to box. You may not even walk again. And again, you see the videos. Go on YouTube. Check out Vinny Paz. He's got the halo, which is meant to the body halo, screws in your head to not move. What does he do? He trains. He comes back and he wins 3 more world titles. Now, obviously with a bad back, it's hard to swing a golf club. When you break your neck and somebody punches you in the head and your head snaps back and forth, especially the way Vinny was, okay, I kind of beg to differ to say that, like as Vinny put it, hitting a golf ball is a hell of a lot different than getting hit. But again, kudos to Tiger Woods. But as far as the greatest comeback of all time, I gotta say, I gotta stick with Vinny Paz on that.
All right. Hey, I like Vinny Paz, but what Tiger did, I never thought I'd see him with another green jacket on.
No.
Pretty amazing. Sure. I think he got the women going again. I'd like to see his cell phone.
That's something Jim would say.
Hey, yeah. Now, I want to talk about, man, you talk about somebody coming back. I want to talk about somebody leaving out. Magic Johnson. Nobody quits a job like Magic Johnson. You know, when he first took the job, we were talking earlier, I didn't think it was a good fit. Magic can't be limited. He's Magic. You know, he wants to talk to somebody, he's going to do it. You see, he's online, he's on the Tonight Show, he's getting fined because he winked and said, oh, I'm going to go talk to Paul George. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm a wink. He gets $500,000 for that. Ben Simmons calls him, says, hey, I'm a big point guard. Nobody does it like you. Can you help me? He talks to her. He does all the right channels. They get on him for that. Right. Anything he did, they got on him. You know, and I don't think, and then, you know, I don't like LeVar Ball, but LeVar Ball was right about this. Magic didn't have the power that we all thought he did. He wanted to fire Luke Walton probably before the season, and definitely during the season when they were struggling, right. And Jeannie Buss said no. At the end of the season, he meets with LeBron on Saturday, meets with Jeannie on, I guess, Monday, and he's quitting by Tuesday. What I think happened, he wanted to fire Rob Pelinka, and she said no to that. And he said, well, if I'm not going to have any power, I'm getting hit for this team not making the playoffs my 2 years, I'll just walk off. Right. And the little press conference was all Magic.
Yeah.
It wasn't scripted. It was off the cuff, and that's just Magic. Hopefully he just goes around be Magic. He doesn't need to be limited to a GM, a president. That's not him. He has all the businesses. Just be the face of the Dodgers with your 5%, whatever you own.
I think he sold it, though. I don't think he owns it anymore. I know he sold to Starbucks, and I'm pretty sure he sold the Dodgers. I'm a huge Magic Johnson.
I think he's still with the Dodgers.
I'm a huge Magic fan.
Mm-hmm. And he might have had to sell it when he took that job.
Right.
But I think,
I'm a huge Magic fan as a person first, and then basketball, then business. I guess I've read all his stuff. I listened to his interviews and whatnot. But I didn't think this was the right thing for him because it seems like all the GMs or all the presidents are tight and they're miserable and everything's secret. And that's not Magic. And it just wasn't a good fit for him. I think that if you're going to be the president of the team, you should be able to do what the president's supposed to do. I'm not a big fan of this Rob Pelinka Everybody said Kobe's the one who put him in there. Look, you hire Magic, let him do his thing.
Right,
He
let him
did
bring
get
in his
LeBron
guy.
over. I
know
wasn't
how-
a big fan of the ball draft. I didn't think that was a good draft.
And the rumor, and you say that the rumor was that he wanted De'Aaron Fox, but
That'd have
Jeannie
been
wanted
nice.
Lonzo Ball.
I didn't hear that rumor. Okay.
That was the rumor.
See, I
Because
would've
remember, he
taken
worked
Fox,
out
too.
twice. The first workout that Lonzo Ball had wasn't impressive. He had low energy, which is pretty much how he's played.
Right.
So they brought him back, and he had a better performance. But I heard that he really wanted De'Aaron Fox.
And I think a problem with Magic, years ago with Ted Williams, he was a manager for the Washington Senators. And he was hated because he was an old school guy, okay? He didn't understand that these guys couldn't play the way he could. Well, who could, right? Magic is an old school guy. Magic was about work ethic, but at the same time, the Showtime, and he wanted to bring that back. And I don't know if he saw the fire in these guys. I just don't think it's his. I don't want to say it's not his era. It's not, the players today aren't his type.
Right. It's a whole different
It's
generation.
a whole different generation, and he's one of the greats. And that again, I don't think it was a good fit.
Right,
It was
right.
not a good fit. And I mean, everybody's busting his chops about him quitting and stuff like that.
He was only there 2 years.
Yeah.
He wasn't, the problem was put in way before that. I blame Kobe. Kobe couldn't get guys to play with him when he was towards the end
I
of his
blame
career.
Russ. She owns the team. I mean, I know what you're saying about Kobe, but she could say, Kobe, thank you. We love you to death, but I'm going to make the decisions here. I mean, he didn't make her do it, right? He didn't make her do
They
it.
gave him the lifetime contract to
Yeah,
end,
yeah.
took too much money. He's bringing in people, and he's running them off just like he ran Dwight Howard off, which probably wasn't a bad thing.
Might not have
But
been
they would
bad.
at least made the playoffs. They
Yeah.
haven't made the playoffs in 6 years.
6 years, do you believe that?
That's pretty
I
crazy.
would say this. The teams that should never miss the playoffs are the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dallas Cowboys, LA Lakers, and who was the other team? I'm missing. Yankees. They
And
should
why,
never miss
why
it.
is that?
They are they have the most money. They are
Not
the
the Steelers.
iconic.
Not the Steelers. Iconic.
No, but they're
yes.
iconic.
Yeah.
And the Steelers got some money, but those teams they should always be in the thick of things.
But
And
the
the
Steelers
Lakers
don't spend it. Just ask Le'Veon Bell or
Yeah,
Antonio Brown.
yeah,
They're
right.
not spending it.
At least
They'll pick
on-
one guy.
They'll pick one guy.
They'll pick Ben.
Yeah, but 6 years. Obviously I know it's 6 years, but I said, damn, 6 years.
Went fast.
It did go
Went
fast.
fast.
yeah.
Went fast. Let's jump topics. We are going to get into the draft, but first we got a couple big fights coming up. I think we have some clips of Crawford, Terrence Crawford. We want to run. What do you think about Terrence Crawford? I have him on my pound for pound list.
Power, speed kills. He's got great hands, good feet. We don't know really what kind of punch he can take yet because nobody's
Well,
hit
we
him.
know he was hurt by Gamboa.
Oh, yeah,
I
that was
saw
my
him
fault.
hurt.
Yeah.
I saw him hurt, and that was 140. that
And-
wasn't
right,
Errol Spence.
Right. But I mean, I just like him, and you know what? The thing about him is he brings it every fight.
That's true. That's
and
true.
you don't have to worry like this fight against Khan. You don't have to worry about him not being there, bringing it. And now, having said all that, he's got a big fight against Amir Khan.
Is that really a big fight? I mean, I know it's pay-per-view.
Name-wise.
But
I don't start with the pay-per-view because
Oh,
these
man.
fights
a
should
lot
not
of
be
these
pay-per-view.
fights should
Yeah.
be free or at the most, on a Showtime
Luther,
or ESPN.
if they put those on a ABC, NBC, CBS,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get more fans because people are going to see, damn, Crawford, that guy's good. They're going to like him, right? But Khan's not going to win, I don't think, but I think he's going to do better than people think.
Okay.
I
we'll
think
see.
he's going to do better than people think. Khan's always been tough. Now the last couple of fights he hasn't done well when he moved up, but I think he's going to do better than people think.
I've seen him get stretched so
Oh,
many
he got
times.
stretched.
I mean, and when he
Yeah,
get
and when he
some
gets stretched,
guys-
he gets
Some
stretched.
guys get knocked
Yeah,
out.
he gets
He
stretched.
gets stretched
Yeah.
where you never know. I
Right.
mean, he has quick hands, very fast, but he leaves himself open.
Yeah.
He has the boxer's nose.
He
It's
sure
been
does.
broke quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm happy.
What's your
for
prediction?
him. I think Crawford gets him out about the 5th or 6th
Wow,
round.
really that early?
Yeah, I think he'll look good and he'll get confident and just like he always does, get too confident, stick his chin out, and Crawford's going to find it over and over again, and I think he's going to be out. I mean, I've always
saying-
liked his quick hands, but
Yeah.
just doesn't have it right now.
I'm saying decision.
Decision, 12 rounds?
12 rounds.
Woo. Okay.
12
All right.
rounds.
Hey, neither one of them have lost at 147. So
True.
we'll see about
But
that.
having said that now, don't be going to the casino because I'm the worst. I always joke around, if Rocky Marciano was around and I was around, Rocky would have been something like 40-9 because I'm the worst. And I owe Luther another apology. What did I apologize to you for last time? What did I mess up?
I don't know, man.
It was a
The
boxing
prediction.
thing. Yeah, it was a prediction. I forgot
Was
what
it
it was.
Ugas and
No,
Porter?
no.
You got that.
I forgot what it was. But I've been saying, who's the guy that I've been talking about a lot?
Big Baby.
Big Baby
Big
Miller.
Baby.
I really thought he was going to do something in the heavyweight division, and he had a shot. I didn't think he was ready
Chance
for
of
it.
a lifetime.
And what does he do? What's that stuff called?
It's GW 1560.
It's a performance enhancer.
Performance drug.
And it makes you,
Yeah,
quicker
yeah.
and better stamina. And
Yeah,
it's for
increases
obese
aerobic,
people
yeah.
and all that.
Increases power and
Could not
endurance
believe
for
that.
obese and elderly.
Can't believe-
And
I mean-
that's the thing. You always talked about he could throw so many punches.
Now
to
we
be
know
that
why.
big. Now we know why.
But
He's
how
taking
come
this-
he wasn't tested before? Oh,
I don't know.
I thought you
he's-
tested for every fight.
You're supposed to, but maybe he didn't get tested. I don't know, because it's random. Maybe he just
Well,
got
now-
lucky. But he got busted before the MMA. If we
Right.
could watch some of him and AJ's highlights,
Oh,
can we
we have
run some of
highlights,
those? Yeah. I mean, I thought it was going to be a solid fight, but I thought he was going to get knocked out by Joshua. Here we see Joshua, big heavyweight, but he's so slow in there. He's kind of
Telegraphs a
robotic.
little bit, you're right.
But like you said, he telegraphs, but he has good power. Now here's Big Baby. Every bit of Big Baby. Looked
That's
like he had a
yeah.
big diaper on,
Right,
right there. But I mean, he just throws a lot of punches. But I thought it would have been a solid fight. Here's the fight against Dillian White and AJ.
I'm tired of Dillian White. I'm tired of Chisora. I'm tired of Parker. It's the same three guys
that talk a lot, and they're not doing much.
But I'm disappointed in Big Baby Miller because I thought he had the skill, now we know why, and I thought he had the personality to carry the belt in a good way. And unfortunately, well, they didn't call the fight off yet, but it's going to.
They're investigating. Now, do you think he'll get the Canelo Alvarez treatment? Remember, Canelo, he got caught cheating.
I'll tell you why no. Because Canelo is Canelo. He brings more to the table. Do you agree with that?
I agree. I think Miller's looking at a year ban, possibly a
least.
lifetime ban.
You know what? Something just hit me. And you may agree, you may not. Before the show, we were talking about, okay, who's Anthony Joshua going to fight now, right? There's rumor about Ortiz. Luther says
Never.
he's not going to fight Ortiz.
He's
I'm gonna
scared
give
of
you a name.
Ortiz.
Remember I said it. Frezzo Kendo.
Oh, gosh.
I'm telling you.
He's been
because
fighting since Evander and Mike Tyson
I
were
think
fighting.
he fought Marciano once. He keeps getting these almost title shots. Then the guy who he's fighting gets drug tested, or whatever. And somehow, and he's the interim. I don't know how the hell that works.
slides it. I don't know
Interim,
how- yeah, he gets a
I'm
belt.
telling you, he's old. He's got a name. He's going to be. He'll knock. I mean, unfortunately, he reminds me. What was the guy? Spider Rico. He reminds me of Spider Rico. I mean, Joshua's going to beat the hell out of him. But I'm going to make a crazy prediction. Joshua's going to fight him.
I think it's going to be a guy, Michael Hunter, a guy
That's
who
right,
fought
you did say that,
at
yeah.
cruiserweight,
Yeah.
and he just signed with DAZN.
Right.
It's tailor-made.
Right.
I'm wondering if Eddie Hearn and AJ already knew he was dirty. Because if you go back and look at the press conference,
Yeah.
they both were talking about each other being dirty, and
Right.
AJ said, I know you're cheating.
I know you are. Yeah.
So he probably did know.
Yeah.
Hey, let's jump to the phone lines. Call us, say your name, where you're calling from.
Hi, this is Donna from Homewood.
Hey,
Hello,
Donna,
how are
How are you?
Good, thank you. First thing I want to ask, I have about 3 questions, but the first question is, what's wrong with you men? The one fighter who had a halo and he went back to fighting, it's like he doesn't care about his life, or
She's about Vinny.
what's that all
Yeah.
about?
You know what?
Yeah.
Vinny was still a young man. You know, he had made some money, but it wasn't enough, obviously. But with him, and if you saw the video, I think with him, he just had a passion
loved
for
the sport.
fighting. He loved the
Right.
sport, and it's hard to let go, especially at that age. He had just won a title, his second world title, because they said his career was over before that.
Right,
Okay.
right.
He had to reinvent himself and all that. So what happened, Donna? He fought a guy named Gilbert Delay in October of '91, and he won that belt, a big upset. Then 2 weeks later, November 7th, the same day or the day before, day after Magic Johnson announced that he had HIV, Vinny got into an accident. And Vinny's the type of guy that if you tell him that you can't do something, he's going to do it. That's what made him who he was. So, and then on top of that, he did not get screwed when they took the screws out, because when they put him in, he was unconscious, he was out. But when they took the screws out, he did not want a pain anesthesia.
Yeah.
He just went straight, and if you got to see the movie.
What is it? Bleed for this? Or
Bleed for this.
For this.
Bleed for this. And,
Yeah.
and the thing about that movie is they had to tone it down a little bit because people wouldn't believe. They made it sound like he came home for a month. The day he came home, he started working out.
Wow.
And one of the things that was sad about that part was when he was in the hospital, he said, "Look, Doc, I'm moving my legs." And he wasn't. He said, "Look, I know I am." He thought he was moving his legs, but he wasn't. And then he started kind of getting a little hysterical because he saw that he wasn't moving his legs, and they thought he was paralyzed. And thank God he wasn't. He came back, and he won 3 more world titles. I was with him a month ago. And people go up to him and say, "Vinny, you inspired me," and this and that. And not just because, I love him to death and he's like a brother, but
We got to get him on the show. We
yeah,
got to Skype
we do have
with
to
him.
get him.
We got to
yeah.
Skype with him for
and,
sure.
And yeah, he'll do it for sure. He's a great guy,
Well,
but
I'm just hoping-
what a comeback! What a comeback!
Yeah. I was hoping not too many young people look at that and say, "Oh, I could do it too," because, he was lucky, but, other people may not be that lucky.
True.
true.
My other question, what do you all think about Russell Wilson? He was supposed to have had the highest, he's making more than anyone in football or anyone in sports? I don't
Yes,
know.
yes. He's the highest paid player in football right now. I think it's well deserved. Russell Wilson has done everything right on the field and off the field. I like how he announced
Oh,
it
man.
in bed late at night with his
you.
wife. That was pretty
pretty
creative. But he deserves it. He's done everything, and it's a shame he had to get to that point where he gave them a deadline and it finally got worked out. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They've never really given him great receivers, and he wins anyway. Put him in the backfield, he's going to win 10 games. He's been to 2 Super Bowls,
Should've
won
won.
one. Yeah,
Should've
should have
won
won
two.
2. If they hand the ball off
That was dumb.
to Lynch,
That's the
he has 2 Super Bowls. But I think I'm happy for him. It's a great move for Seattle, and I can't say any more. I'm really impressed with him.
I liked him from day one. The
they're
type of
talking-
well, I'm sorry, Don. I like the type of person he is. That's just how I am. I like the person first, then let's see what he can do. Good person, good leader.
Yeah.
And he's, really, you can't, there's not a mark on the guy as far as off the field. And on the field, like Luther said, can you imagine if they gave him some players?
Right, right.
I mean, if they gave him some, when he did have, some off with Lynch and a couple other guys, look what he did.
Right.
Who was
But
the
not-
guy
but-
who had the headaches all the time, the migraines, the wide receiver?
Oh, yeah. Gosh, yeah.
Went to Minnesota, I forgot his name, but he
yeah.
was pretty good. But
he was pretty
hurt.
good, but he was always.
But
yeah,
I
always had
think
those headaches.
I'm fine with him getting that contract.
Yeah, it's a shame, but now they really can't put anybody to play with him because he's making too much money.
But then they say that what he may do is do what Tom Brady did.
Right,
And
keep-
that's
keep renegotiating and
renegotiating
changing.
what do they call that? They changed
Yeah,
the contract a little bit, but he's just going to get more guaranteed.
Right, right.
What
But
did
I'm-
you think
he'll
about
take
it?
less?
Did you think it was a
he'll
good
take
idea?
less in order well, yeah. because I like he and Sierra. I think
Sierra.
they're good role models.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially like before they got married and different things like that. I like
Right.
that. But I don't think he should take less to get more.
No.
players.
What would
Oh, no,
happen? He
but-
has his contract. He can just what'll happen? He'll get more as a signing bonus.
What's
I
the
mean,
term?
players do it all the time. Well, not renegotiate, but they they adjust their salary for the year.
Yeah, so-
Steelers are notorious for doing that.
Yeah. Well, like for example, if I'm not mistaken, Luther, let's say like Tom Brady, let's say he was making $10 million, okay? Then he would, for that year, he would take $7 million, but that $3 million doesn't get, so they can give it to a running back or what have you.
Right.
But instead of him getting that $10 million last year, he'll get $1 million in 2021,
Right,
another million in
right. It'll-
2025, so it doesn't go against their cap. So.
Oh, I see. I see. But my last question, I don't know.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Because
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Now we got you.
Now we can hear you.
Oh, okay. My last question is, it seemed like they were trying to, excuse me, pit Magic Johnson and LeBron James against each other. Is that what it seemed like to you? Like they were acting like they had something, some kind of rift?
I didn't see it. I thought it was a thing where, LeBron has his own way of doing things, like how he was in Cleveland, and Magic was trying to do a certain thing. But I think they both were trying to get Anthony Davis. I think that's where the divide happened because LeBron's agent is the same agent as Anthony Davis, and they were trying to work it out, and then it just blew up the team because young players couldn't deal with the fact that they may get traded, and then the trade didn't happen. There was just so much that went on. I don't think it was a rift between the two. I think it was more a rift between Magic and Rob Pelinka, the GM, and the fact that Magic wasn't able to fire the GM.
I
So
think the
that was
problem,
issue.
Donna, was, and I told Luther before the show, when LeBron got hurt, that's when things started to fall apart. Not just necessarily because your best player got hurt, but then he started spending time almost like in the front office, let's say, during the games. They showed Pelinka, LeBron, and Magic. And it looked like that maybe LeBron was saying, we got to get rid of this guy. And that's when things started coming out that we got to get rid of this guy, we got to get Davis, that, and the other thing. Some players got upset. Or when LeBron was not, and this is one thing I did not like, being a coach for, 35, 36 years, I couldn't have put up with it. And I've had, obviously not, that type of talent, but I've had some star players. One star player tried to kind of get like that a little bit, and I nipped it in the bud real quick in a hurry. And LeBron's
But he
over
wasn't
here.
LeBron. He was
Well, no, but for our league,
For your league,
for
he was
our
one of the top.
league,
All right.
he was. I mean, yeah, he's not. But for our league, he was pretty damn good. Okay, he was big time. He was a good kid.
Okay.
But he was used to kind of running the show. Well, he wasn't going to run my show. Not that I don't ask my players. Not that I don't ask my players for things. I'll say, look, if I don't feel strongly about something, I'll say, what do you think about this player? That. So I'm not a dictator, but I didn't want him. And I'm a big believer of nipping things in the bud. Well, when Luke Walton's over here with the team and LeBron's looking away or pointing or whatever he's doing, that's bad, as they say, for the optics. So it looks like maybe LeBron's running the show, and now the media runs with it, that he's running the show, and who knows whether he is or not, I don't know. But as I've said a zillion one times, I love Magic Johnson. I was never really a Dodger fan. As soon as he bought the Dodgers, I like the Dodgers. Starbucks I'm okay with. As soon as he bought Starbucks, I'm getting more Starbucks. I just love Magic Johnson as a person first. And he obviously gave me a ton of excitement as a player. But whether LeBron, and him getting a rift, I don't think you'll ever hear it. Because if they did, I don't think Magic would say it because it would hurt LeBron. And I would like to think that LeBron would not try to hurt an icon like Magic
Right.
Johnson.
I think they saw.
But I don't
think
trust that Pelinka.
Yeah, Pelinka, I think he was the one when Magic said, I don't like all the backstabbing, that was Rob Pelinka doing all the backstabbing, in my opinion.
Oh, well, thank you both.
Thank
Thank you for
daughter.
calling.
Most of my sports from your show, so thank you.
Thank you
And
so
have a good
much.
day.
All right, hey, let's stay on the phones. Caller, say your name, where you're calling from.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Sean.
Sean,
Hey, what's going on, Sean?
what's happening?
Hey, what's going on?
All right. A lot of news coming out, especially in boxing. What's up? What do you want to talk about first, though, Shaw?
We can start with the Steelers and their schedule this season.
Okay.
Looks like we know 3 games are going to be, depending on if you believe the leaks or not.
New England, number 1.
New England, number 1. They'll play at the Jets on Monday night, the 5th week of the season. Mm-hmm. And then around that time, I guess they play Cleveland at home.
Right.
And then November 11th, Monday night football, they play up in Cleveland.
Right.
So, depending if you believe the leaks or not, 4 of their games so far. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then they're not going to end the season with Cleveland because I guess they'll end it with Baltimore this year because Cleveland's schedule got leaked, their whole schedule, and they ended with Cincinnati.
So, okay. All right.
Got an idea.
You know what? Let me ask you a question, Sean. With Cleveland, obviously, everybody's going crazy about Cleveland.
Super Bowl on paper. That's what they
Would
say.
you have gotten rid of what was the coach's name? The guy that they got rid
Hugh
of.
Jackson?
No. The guy who replaced Hugh Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Not Schwartz.
Greg Williams.
Greg Williams.
Greg
Would you have gotten
Williams.
Would you have gotten rid of? I've been real critical about the new coaches who've been getting hired, but won't get into that. But as far as Greg Williams, who did a pretty good job
He
with
did.
Cleveland, okay, and they got rid of him for this kitchen guy, whatever. What did you think of that move?
It seems like everybody's trying to be like the Rams.
Thank you.
Right.
NFL
Right.
is like a copycat league, so
Thank you.
if it works, it works. If not, it'll backfire on them tenfold.
Right.
So,
And Greg. Right. And Greg Williams is never going to be a head coach again, man. He's a bounty guy.
Bounty guy. But he did a nice job.
He did a nice job.
Now, he went to the
but
Jets
will
as an
never-
assistant.
Yeah, but he's never getting a head coaching job.
Not
Like you
permanent.
said, optically. Yeah, I don't
right.
see that happening. But he's
But
a great
there's some
defensive
coaches-
coordinator. Go ahead, Sean.
There's some coaches, they're just good with just being a coordinator. They're better being a coordinator.
No question.
than a head
Like a
coach.
Rex Ryan.
Like-
Excellent
Right.
point.
Like
Yep.
a Rex Ryan.
Right.
What's the guy from Dallas?
Phillips.
Norm.
Phillips. Bump
Bud
North.
Phillips, yeah,
North.
yeah.
North Turner.
Wade Phillips.
North
Wade
Turner,
Phillips. Wade,
another one.
North Turner, perfect examples. They're better at being coordinators than head coaches.
Right.
That's
The guy from New
definitely
England.
true. All of New England's assistant
Yeah,
coaches.
but I'm talking about the guy, the offensive coordinator, McDaniel.
McDaniels, Josh
Yeah,
McDaniels.
Josh McDaniel, yeah.
Yeah, because if you let him go, he'll draft Tebow #1.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I just don't think he's got.
He
I
doesn't
look
have
at
it.
guys. You know, here, Sean, let you get to your point, but I call it the Jim Haslett theory. What I mean by that is, in all sports, okay, somebody will say they'll start the ball rolling. Jim Haslett's going to be or John Smith. John Smith's going to be a good head coach. I say it. Then Luther says, John Smith's going to be a good head coach. Then Sean hears Claudio and Luther say it. Yeah, John Smith's going to be a good coach. And there was an old commercial years ago, a shampoo commercial. They say he would tell a friend and so on and so on and so on. And then the guy gets a job and he's a bust. And that's what happened with Haslett. Everybody said, oh, he's going to be a great coach. And he wasn't a good head coach. And that's what happens with these guys. This Kiff guy, whatever his name is, Cliff, whatever, and the guy from Arizona and all these guys, I don't see it. Be honest with you, even the guy from the Rams. I mean,
McVay.
Yeah, I mean, he's all right.
He didn't look that good in the
But he
Super
looked that
Bowl.
good in the Super Bowl. He looked that
But he
good in the
did
Super
turn
Bowl.
turn the team
But
around.
these guys are afraid to, I say, sort through the weeds. Okay, this guy's a good coach. Let me talk to him. And some guys give great interviews, man. Rex Ryan, we're going to win 15 games. We're going to win each of them by 25. We're going to bring his town back.
He could sell it.
He sold it. But then come game time, he sold it. He's one of those guys who sold it for the first week, and it kept coming down. You know, you got to sort through the weeds and give these guys a good interview process, and don't just go with the BS.
Right.
Yes. Yes, that is right. I agree with that. As far as the Penguins go, it may be a blessing that they lost that way.
Sweat.
Because I'm going to
Sweat.
be honest, Matt Murray, they may need to look at changing him.
Yeah.
Ever since they won that second Stanley Cup, it's just like, okay, you got rid of Andre Fleury, but Matt Murray, it's just something about him. If you're a two-time Stanley Cup winning champion, you got to play better than that.
I agree. Or could he just be in a bad slump?
Well, you know, I don't
mean,
know anything about hockey, although this year I watched it more than I ever did. I asked Mike Migliore, obviously, and a friend of mine, Rick Mitchell. And Rick says that it's more the defensemen that are not helping Murray. But my thing was this. Yes, Murray did his thing. He won two cups. That's great. I personally would not have gotten rid of Marc-Andre Fleury. Okay, I know his salary was big and all
yeah,
that.
it
He
was
was
a
getting older.
financial hit, yeah.
But look how many games Murray has missed, and he's a hell of a lot younger, and he's making less money. I mean, when the window's closing, Crosby can't play forever. Malkin can't play.
Right.
I'd have kept him around another year or two. Who knows what would have happened? Murray. But although having said that, if you look at the stats, it looks like Murray's like in the top 4 or 5 goalies in the game. So maybe my friend Rick is right that the defensemen just aren't doing their thing. But I would have never guessed. Again, I don't know anything about hockey, but my friend Rick said, yeah, they'll win it in 6. Everybody was saying 6. And he gets swept. But look at Tampa Bay. They were the #1 team in the league,
Right.
and they got swept by the number
hockey,
8.
Hockey playoffs, it's a crapshoot.
It is, and it's a grind.
It's a grind.
It is a grind.
But I didn't see a sweep coming either.
You figure it's April. They're done in mid-June, I think. But like Luther, I didn't see a sweep.
And then the Penguins, they've been playing a lot of games.
Yeah.
Just like looking at Golden State. Maybe when you're making all these runs, like they said in the NBA, no team has played in 5 straight NBA finals since the Celtics in the 60s.
Right.
Maybe it catches up. So maybe the Penguins playing all these games for the past 4 years. Maybe it may have caught up to them this year.
Only LeBron could go to that many in a row, finals in a row.
Yeah, right. But you know what you got to
and
remember.
And look, and he broke down
He broke
this
down.
year.
That was my
It
point.
does catch
They're
up.
human. They're human. And although they want to win, and these guys, I think they would love to skip the regular season.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Go
just,
right to the
it's
playoffs.
such a grind.
And I do think the NBA is talking about cutting back some
never
games.
happen.
Adam Silver is talking about it. He's
It'll
been
never
throwing it
happen.
around. That's the rumor.
Because
salary.
like in baseball, they say, let's go back to the
They really need to
154
cut
games
back.
or 52.
They really need
That
to
ain't
cut
gonna
back.
happen. Yeah,
But when you're paying guys $400 million.
exactly. That ain't going to happen.
Oh, man. Hey, Sean, real quick, because we got a couple other calls. Who do you think the Steelers should go after this year, and who do you think they will get though in the draft?
I'm not sure about players. They just have needs. I think
Yes.
they need to solidify their defense. And I think they're going to have to get a tight end and another wide receiver. They're going to need to get Ben two more weapons and then solidify the defense.
So you'd get the tight end and the receiver early?
It doesn't matter where they get them at.
Okay.
Those are just
get the
players
right-
that, like, I really haven't been looking into the draft this year.
Okay.
But that's just from seeing, because a lot of people complained about the Steelers' defense last year. Steelers' defense kept them in a lot of games. First game of the season, the Steelers' defense didn't cost them that game. If they win that first game of the season, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, that tied it to Cleveland. That whole
And
first
everybody knew it was gonna
the
hurt.
whole first 4 games.
Yeah.
That Le'Veon Bell hangover.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Well, I don't even want to talk about that because we're not getting nothing for Le'Veon Bell. It's going to take 3 years till we get something for him. And I just think that's one of the things the Steelers wasted. I'll leave it with this. Sometimes in business, you can't be nice. 2018 Steelers, the Rooney family were too nice when it came to Le'Veon. Screwed the whole team over. You had division with the linemen. You never count another man's money. And certain linemen counting his money. No, you don't count his
I
money.
knew
He
it was
don't
bad
show
when
up.
they started talking about who's
Yeah.
making this and
Yeah.
he's making
when
more than him.
Le'Veon, in my opinion, the Steelers should have traded him last year, talked to every NFL team. You get what you want for him. If you could give him his contract, just give us draft picks.
Right.
You could have him last year. Now we're waiting 3 years for someone Le'Veon because he didn't play in 2018. We're not getting nothing this year. We got to wait till next year. And
That was a bad move.
whenever he wants to. So
Bad move by
Sometimes
Kevin
it-
Colbert.
Very bad. And nobody gets on him
Sometimes
about it.
No.
yeah, sometimes in business you have to make hard decisions.
Yeah, that's for
Hey,
sure.
hey, Sean, real quick, as far as boxing, I know you heard the news about Big Baby Miller, Anthony Joshua, the heavyweight fight that's been canceled because, Big Baby is using big juices.
He's drinking
what
the
are
Big Baby
Big
juice.
Ba- What are your thoughts, man?
Well, I love it because now Joshua may have to fight Dillian White. Joshua been running from a lot of people.
Dillian
You can
White?
run, but you can't hunt.
You
Who else
know
are
what?
gonna
Are you
put
still
in
sold
right
on
now?
Dillian White, Sean?
I'm not sold on him. But here's the thing: Eddie Hearn has did Dillian White dirty.
I
Yeah,
agree.
oh, yeah.
I agree because
All the stuff that they've done is coming back to bite them in the butt now. All the stuff that Eddie Hearn and DAZN is coming to bite them in the butt now. So they're in a corner now.
I think Dillian White needed to get away from Eddie Hearn because it's obvious that Anthony Joshua is his number one option. You know,
Yeah.
and when you're a heavyweight and he's the number one and you just keep getting passed over, he should have made the move to try to get with El Heyman. Or possibly,
Yeah.
I don't like Bob Arum anymore.
No.
I mean,
No.
he holds up big fights. But I think he should have made the move to get with El Heyman. Then he would have been the next in line to get a Deontay Wilder fight.
The three
But
guys.
and he also needs to fight Luis Ortiz. He's ducked him 3 times. He was ordered by the WBC to fight him, and he's ducked him on more than 2 occasions.
Real quick, Sean, I did not want Joshua to fight White, Parker, or Chisora. Those 3 guys. But, you know, there's rumor about Luis Ortiz.
No.
You'll know if whoever he fights next, you know is not any good.
Michael Hunter.
Yeah,
Remember, I
so-
told you Hunter's
I said
next.
Okendo. I like. Now, he did say before the show about Michael Hunter. It'll be one of those guys, but I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be White.
No. And I think Eddie Hearn said he doesn't have enough time. He's training for a fight in July. And again, they're
He's
playing
dirty.
that game.
He's dirty.
Yeah. Dillian White should have
I'm
been.
talking about Hearn.
Oh, yeah. Hearn lies constantly. And I think they knew that he was that Big Baby was dirty. It just came up too much in the
Yeah,
press
he's dirty
conference.
too. Yeah, they're all dirty, Sean.
Everybody except Wilder.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, Sean, but we'll see. Hey, real quick, last thoughts. Terrence Crawford, Amir Khan fight before we go to this next call. All right, it looks like we lost.
All right, thanks, Sean.
All right, Sean. Looks like we lost
Yep.
this call. But yeah, there's a whole lot. to go. Also, we got Danny Garcia fighting.
Yeah.
What do you think? You don't like Danny Garcia, huh?
I do. He's going to win this fight.
Well, you
it's
think it should be a tough fight? This guy's. I mean, look,
he's there. He's there. He's a tough kid. But I think Garcia is going to want to redeem himself
Right.
from the Porter fight. And I think Garcia is going to look good. Although this guy's kind of hard to look good against.
Right.
It'll be a nice fight, but I have Garcia winning.
Yeah, I think Garcia will win, but it should be a tough fight.
Yeah, entertaining.
Hey, let's jump to the phone lines. Call us, say your name, where you're calling from.
What's up, y'all? This is Stack.
Hey, Stat, I was just
what's
thinking
going
about you.
on?
What's going on?
Nothing much. I was calling to talk about the Penguins and the Pirates.
Okay.
As far as the Penguins, it was their defense. Their defense was terrible, especially Chris Letang. I mean, this guy, he pinches constantly. He leaves Murray out to dry every
That's true.
time.
That's true.
And that's the main thing. It's not necessarily Murray. Murray played well enough. He played well enough. He wasn't great. It's their defense. They have Oli Mata, who's as fast as an ant. He can't move. He only played the one game, and then they sat him down.
Right.
But a lot of it is on like Chris Letang and the other defensemen. They weren't good enough.
Yeah, that's what people were saying. Did you think they shot? I thought they were trying to get a little too cute. Again, I don't know a lot about it, but they were passing a little bit too much. Did you think that? Did you get that impression, Stat?
Yeah, they don't crash the net. They don't seem to crash the net. Like Hornquist seems a little old now. And that's another thing. They're a lot slower than they were.
Starting to age a little bit.
Yeah.
That was their key before. They were so much
They were
faster.
faster.
And now that age and injuries.
Yeah. Well, you only got so many miles on you.
Right.
Well, one of the problems is they got rid of Hagelin. I mean, Hagelin was lightning on the ice. He could kill penalties and things like that. And when you trade him, they got rid of that speed, and that really came back to hurt the Penguins. I mean,
And they didn't replace it.
Right.
yeah, they never replaced his speed. That was a big loss for them. I guess their whole thing was he wasn't scoring enough during the season.
Right.
But the Penguins are in position to where 82 games is just an audition for the playoffs.
Right.
And they didn't have his speed out there for the playoffs.
Right.
And they lost. They're starting to look sort of like the Kings and the Blackhawks. After they won their cups, they've been going downhill ever since.
Well, like I said, they're human. They have
Yeah,
so
can't
many
s-
miles on them.
can't stay on top forever, yeah.
Yeah, then the nagging injuries, and it's just like, what do they say? Father Time's undefeated.
Right.
Right.
What would you suggest they do? Would you go? I don't know. What would you suggest, Stack?
I do like hockey, but I'm not an expert on like the draft process and things like that. They have to get faster some way or another. Like I think they need to look at getting rid of Oli Mata, definitely Chris Letang. I've been watching that act for the last 10 years. Yeah, I mean seriously, like the first year they went to the Cup against Detroit, the year they lost to Detroit, if I'm not mistaken, Letang got pulled in that series. He, because he was turning the puck over in that series, and he got replaced during that series. Then the next year they came back and beat Detroit. But I've never been a Letang fan. I've never, because he's a cowboy out there. He takes too many chances, and I think and this year I think he was the main reason why this team is done.
One thing real quick, before we go to the Pirates, your other question, and again, I could be way off base on this, but when they traded for that Broussard, and he didn't pan out, I think that hurts, because when you trade for a name like that, you expect him to be a big-time scorer, and he didn't work out, and I don't know the guys that they traded him for. I think they didn't do too bad, the guys they traded him for, and they were younger, but maybe if they'd had him, if and when he was on top of his game, that could have maybe elevated them a little bit offensively. I don't know. But I'd never expected a sweep. The people that I know that are hockey experts said, nah, they were pretty confident Penguins in 6. And you mentioned speed. Everybody says, and you can see it, the Islanders they just skated right by them.
Right.
And you're right, they didn't crash the net.
Yeah, that's Hornquist's whole game. I mean, the year that they beat Nashville, if you remember, they beat him 1-0 in Game 6, and 2-0. Hornquist scored like 30 seconds left in the game or something, or it went to overtime. But he crashed the net. He got a dirty goal, and they won 2-0 because Hagelin scored an empty netter and made it 2-0 to end the game. But Hornquist won that Game 6 for them with that goal. You know, and that net front presence was lacking this year.
You know, another thing, Sean, the stars weren't stars. That's an old adage in baseball, really in basketball, all sports. Your
Right.
stars have to be stars. And if they're not, I mean, Crosby didn't do much, Malkin didn't do much, Matang didn't do much. You know, the stars really didn't. And then you need your stars to be stars. You need somebody else like a Simone,
up.
somebody like that to kind of come out
Raise
of the
their
blue.
game, yeah.
Right.
Right. Definitely.
You said the Pirates, Stack?
What about the
What
Pirates?
about the Pirates, Stack?
Oh, well, I keep saying they're going to win 85 games this year.
Well, they're 9-6 right now. What, about 7-3 in their last 10 games? I like their pitching.
Although, I mean, again, I'm going to kind of talk both sides of my mouth here. They're doing okay, but I'm still not convinced. Again, maybe I'm old and I'm looking back at the old Cincinnati Reds and the old time guys who could really play. I look at these guys, and I just don't see it.
Don't see it.
I'm talking about the opponents. I just don't see it, okay? So I always use this example, Stack. You call me to go play golf. You're bad and I'm bad, but somebody's got to win.
Right.
So that's how I look at that. As far as the pitching Luther mentioned, I'm used to seeing, forget about again, I've said this numerous times, forget about the Palmers and the Seavers and the Nolan Ryans and the Carltons. Let's talk about the Rookers and the Andahars, the Rodens, the Royces, those guys. Forget about the Hall of Famers. Those guys used to pitch 14, 15 complete games a year, and I don't want to hear that they didn't throw hard because they did. They threw more breaking stuff. These guys.
Analytics, Claudia.
I hate it.
You know,
5,
analytics.
6 innings. You get Chris Archer last year, and everybody goes crazy about Chris Archer. I bet you if you looked at his innings from the first day he's here till the other day, I bet you he averages about under 6 innings per start.
Right.
He's your horse, one of your horses. Let him
Supposed to
pitch.
be.
I just don't like the way the game's being played. I'm getting off subject. Will the Pirates win 85? They could. They could because I don't see the competition, but because the competition is great. But eventually, I think Milwaukee, St. Louis, and Chicago is going to pick up, and I think the Pirates will probably finish 4th. I did say about I think Jim said the over and under was 79. I said that was about as sure of a bet as you could possibly get.
Take the
But I
under.
could be wrong. I get an
85,
under.
Stack. All right. What,
Could be wrong.
I don't know. I just don't see why, Stack.
Well, here's the thing. They finished 4th in the division last year.
Right.
They had the best record within the division last year. Normally, the Pirates play better outside of the
Right.
division. They were actually pretty bad last year outside of the division. It was a change. So I think they'll actually pick back up on that and start winning outside of the division and win, in the division not as well as they did last year. That's why I'm looking at 85, and also their pitching will be strong. I'm not calling this pitching staff the 71 Orioles,
Right.
with Palmer, Cuellar,
McNally and
guys.
Dobson. Very
Right.
good. There you go.
I mean, that's probably the greatest pitching staff, I've ever, well, I wasn't even born. That was before I was born, but that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean,
Right.
but their pitching is, they haven't had a bad start this year. They've had all quality starts. And I think that can carry them up. And remember, Dickerson, he'll be back.
What are you going to do with this
Polanco
kid
will be
Martin?
back.
He's tough.
Yeah, I think they can win these. I think they can get 85 wins with this team. And
I don't
think
want them to
Melvin
get
Cabrera,
85
you
wins.
gotta
I
gotta
want
keep
them to
playing.
lose. Stack, they lied to the fans. They said once we had a good team, we would invest in the team, and they did the complete opposite. Look at what they did when we had 90 wins. They went the complete opposite. A couple players, they really could have competed for some championships. They didn't do it, and they just destroyed the team.
They were this, in
They
my
would not
opinion,
s-
they were this close from being the best team in
They
baseball.
would not spend the
I
money.
agree.
I don't want them to win 85, because then I don't want them to win, because they're not trying.
And the other
Look
thing,
at who
too-
they've lost and who they've brought in. That's
yeah,
disgusting.
they didn't replace him. And the other thing too, and I don't like to say it too much, but if your starting pitcher is doing good, leave him in. But nope, we got to go to the bullpen.
Analytics.
The bullpen,
I
analytics.
agree with that. Analytics,
And then
that's
they
hurdle.
blow it. You can't. Now, years ago, it all started years ago when Tony La Russa, just for example, had Dave Stewart, who was getting older. Morgan was getting older. They said, you know what? You guys are good for about 6 innings. Then we'll bring in Gene Nelson or Honeycutt, who can only go 1 or 2. Then we'll bring in Eckersley because he can. But that worked. Then it worked for the Yankees. But the problem, you talk about the NFL being copycat. Everybody started doing that in baseball.
Yeah.
But how about if you don't have the horses to do that?
Right.
How about if your starting pitching is really strong and your bullpen is so-so? Why the hell would you dip into the bullpen? And then these guys, they're so glad on the major league level in the World Series last year. Hill was pitching good. Rich Hill was pitching good. He gives up 1 hit. The coach, I forgot his name, takes him out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roberts takes him out. You don't think the Red Sox went like this? Wow. Man, am I glad he's
that
out.
game, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Man, am I
Yeah.
glad he's out.
That
Don't
was
do
never
that.
bad.
Oh, my God. And then real quick, I'm on a tangent here, Sean. Our
Stack.
Like the players said, well, we're going to let the pitching count go deep.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you tell your pitcher? What's the best first pitch? Strike 1.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell do you think the other coach is telling his pitcher? They throw strike 1. Then the second pitch is a 59-foot curveball that you swing at and miss. I just don't get the way the game is anymore, Sean.
copycat league,
I keep
you
calling
know,
Sean.
yeah.
Stack. Yeah, it's a copycat league, Stack, just like you said. And I don't like it. Pirates 85 wins. I'm still saying under 79.
Right. I don't want him. I want him to go under.
He wants him to
I
lose.
want the under.
You
I
got to
have
come up
money
with a
on the
rhyme
under.
like Smoking Jim
Right,
with 8 and
right.
8 and all that.
I'm just a big Pirates fan. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
grew up
I'm a
on
Pirates
the
fan.
Pirates.
I'm a Pirates
I
fan, but when
listened
they don't
to
want to
my
win,
granddad on the porch,
Right.
the home games,
Right.
and watched all the road games on KDKA.
The West Coast games were big time for us, remember?
Stack. I agree, but when a team is deliberately not trying to win, you get frustrated. I'm like a lot of other people, frustrated because they're not trying.
Nope.
We had the talent to really make some moves. They said they would spend money once they had a team that was, in competition for a championship, and it was a complete lie.
And the Pirate fans deserved it
Right.
because they came.
Hacked it out. It was great going down PNC Park.
That's why I just watch on TV instead of going to the games. I'm in the same boat, but I'm just a fan that wants his team to do well, and
Okay.
I think they can do it. I really do. I really think this team can win 85 games. I mean, 85 games may not be enough to do anything. It probably isn't, but that's just a number prediction I have.
Okay.
All right.
They would probably have to win more like 88 to 90 games to make a wild card.
Right. Hey, Stack, man, always appreciate
Thank
it, man.
you,
We
Stack.
got
Thank
3
you.
more calls.
I was just thinking about you earlier today. Good talking to you.
All right, I'll talk to y'all later.
All right,
All right, man.
Stack.
Thank you, Stack.
All right.
The high school authority and
Yeah, I'm
Stack.
telling you.
All right. Hey, call us, say your name where you're calling from.
This is LD from the East End.
LD,
what's going on?
Not too much. I just got a couple questions for you guys. The linebacker from Kentucky, Josh Allen, wouldn't it be nice if the Steelers could get him?
Yeah, he'll be going. I
be
think
gone.
he's going to be going within the first 5 picks, but that would be nice. But we got another player from Kentucky who's not really living up to his billing. So I might stay away from some Kentucky guys, some Kentucky edge rushers.
Dupree's going to have a good year this year.
I think if we had the tape, I think you said that last year, LT. They've been
He's got
missing
the ability
bad.
to.
He does.
Why do you think he's not having the type of seasons that we all thought he was going to have?
Well, you know what? I think he needs to diversify his move. Everything is a speed or a bull rush.
That's a good point.
You look at other guys, they would set you up with a move and then I just haven't seen that improvement. Everything is based on all his, athleticism and not technique. And I just haven't seen enough improvement from that. I mean, T.J. Watt came in and he has great games and he'll disappear. And then he'll have 6 sacks and won't have a sack for 2 games.
Yeah.
But I see him making more progress.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the same, and he's getting paid real nice this year. So hopefully Dupree will step it up. But
If he does, that'd be big time.
I'd like them to make a move. I've seen some reports where Devin Bush could drop to him or where he'll be gone before the first 15 picks. But out of Michigan, he would be great in a Steelers uniform. Already wears the yellow for Michigan.
Right.
Put him in some Steeler yellow. I love it.
I'd be happy with Bush or White.
Yeah, well, White, I think
From
White
LSU.
is going to be going in top 10.
Well, they're going to have to move up. You
Right.
think they'll trade up?
I don't think they're trading up because I don't know if they see the guy that they necessarily want to trade up for. The last time they traded up for, it's been a while. But LD, what are your thoughts?
I just hope they get a couple of defensive players to help that defense. Because the offense, they might be okay, but they're not going to score like they did last year or the year before. So the defense, to me, has to be tougher than they were last year.
They got to get some turnovers. I think they had, like 4 interceptions last year. I mean, that's just not good enough.
LD, what do you think about, you talk about the defense. One of the things that always, again, I'm an old guy. One of the things that always helped the defense was a good running game. Do you think that the Steelers ought to maybe have a little bit, have more of a running game to help that defense out?
Yes, and one thing with the Steelers, and I always tell my friends this, how many times have the Steelers run the ball 3 times in a row
Never.
in a game?
Yes.
They hardly
It's been
ever-
years since that's happened.
Since Tommy Maddox.
Exactly. Just run the ball
That's-
3 times in a row.
But that's
sometimes.
not the game now. The game is, the rules are set up for the passing attack. I think those days are pretty much gone.
But it's a little deception sometimes.
That'd be
Everyone
nice.
knows Ben's going to pass.
But
On the
Ben-
first
Ben-
down,
Ben
they
wants
get
to
2
lead the
yards,
league.
He's
Ben-
going to pass every time.
But, hey, they even line up in shotgun at the 2-yard line.
Yeah.
Ask Antonio Brown about that one. But I don't know. I think they're okay at running back. I mean, of course, you could get somebody to spell, but I think Connor and Samuels are solid enough.
Yeah.
That offensive line is one of the best in the business. You put any running back there, they're going to the Pro Bowl, they're getting 1,000 yards. I mean, they're that good.
I'm big on, I think you have to have a great offensive line, great defensive line. Then we can go from there. But I think the Steelers, again, we keep talking about linebackers. It'd be nice if they got Bush or White. Allen, geez, if they got Allen,
Man, that'd be pretty nice.
I don't
but again,
see that
he's from
happening.
Kentucky, so I'm not sure. I'm not sold on those guys.
But that Allen, I've seen him play.
He looks
Oh,
terrific. Hey,
he's
Dupree
something
looked
else.
terrific too.
And he's 6'5", 260.
Oh, he's
You're
big.
right.
He can,
You're
can
right.
move, yeah.
He's a big guy. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Just a couple things on the NBA. Number one, I hope Golden State doesn't win this year.
Thank you.
That was, but I feel bad about DeMarcus Cousins.
Oh, yeah, I like him.
Man,
Yeah.
that all stems from that
Yeah.
Achilles. I mean, man, he
I like
gets a
him.
steal running down the court, and his
Right.
quad just explodes on him like that.
That was sad.
And I'm going to hang up, but I want you guys to answer this. Is Tim Duncan supposed to be gay? I saw on the computer he was hugging a man.
I don't know. That's a curveball, LD.
We don't know that kind of stuff. Jim knows all this
Yeah, Jim-
media stuff. And
I think he's all right. Real
Yeah.
quick, Damian Lillard or Westbrook, they're having a big battle right now. Portland's up 2-0. Who do you think is the better player, and who do you think wins the
Leonard.
series?
Leonard. And I'll tell you why.
Lillard.
will pass the ball, and the other guy, he just
Westbrook.
takes some terrible shots.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
not
he
playing
does.
winning basketball ever since Durant left. They haven't
I didn't
gotten out
like
of
to
the first
admit that,
round.
that when people on this show, they said he's not a winning basketball player. And I kind of didn't like that, but I'm starting to kind of lean that way.
I've been saying
Yeah,
it.
no,
I love his effort, but he does not play
does
winning
put-
basketball,
yeah.
and that's part of the reason that Kevin Durant got away from him.
Yeah.
There's a certain time where you out, like you said, LD, you got to pass the ball, and he's not a good three-point
At all.
shooter,
Jeez.
and he keeps taking them. You can't
Off-balance three-point
He can't
shoot.
match Damian Lillard for
no.
3 for 3. You got to take him down low sometimes. You got to do other things, but the 3 does not work. And Paul George is not healthy.
He's hurt. Yeah, he's hurt.
You know, he did have a decent second game. They just don't have enough scoring on OKC. I thought they could make some kind of noise, but you know, if they lose and get swept or something by Portland, they may have to think about making some moves. You know,
I think
for
they're going to win the
OKC.
next game.
Pardon me?
But I think they're going to win the next game.
They better.
I think they'll win the next 2. I think it's
Oh, really?
going 6 or 7.
Okay.
Why are they shooting all those threes?
I don't know,
They make 10
because they're trying to match up with Portland. Billy Donovan is, I've been saying it, I don't think he's a good NBA coach, and especially for Westbrook. He's not a good NBA coach for him. I would say they should bring in somebody like a Mark Jackson to show him how to play more like a pure point guard. But Billy Donovan is trying to match Portland 3 for 3, and that's not their
That's not
game.
going to happen. Yeah.
Just two things I think they could do to help themselves. They could pass the ball more and drive to the hoop more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times they go down, no pass, a shot, one pass, and a 3. And the guys they're shooting, they're not shooting good percentages. And Ferguson is a liability watching C.J. McCollum. He stands in the corner on offense. You got to make Lillard and C.J. move.
Yep.
You know, McCollum has too much energy on offense because all Ferguson does is stand in the corner and wait for a pass and shoot a 3. I think they need to change the lineup or you get somebody to move. Go big, something.
Go big would be really.
Go big
yeah.
because McCollum is having too easy of a time on defense. You know, but I don't know.
Okay, enjoyed the show, fellas.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you, LD. Thank you.
We have time for one more caller. Can we get the last caller in?
Hey, fellas, it's Kelly Russell.
Kelly, what's happening,
going on, Kel?
Hey, well, y'all were talking about the Steelers draft. Luther, I don't know if you remember my big thing after Art Rooney was on the fan, but my biggest question with the Steelers going into the draft is how much confidence do you have in the leadership? And I'll just point to Tomlin and Colbert. Because they've had more swings and a miss recently than they've had hits.
I agree, but I think the draft is a crapshoot. You're right. A lot of the number 1 picks have missed, but they did hit on a Juju. They did hit on so it's hit or miss. Right. I think if you go through the NFL, most drafts are losing players if you look at it. You know, you'd like to see them hit more on their number 1s, but the number 1s have been kind of sorry, and their later picks have been better.
Yeah, later picks.
Unfortunately.
So you got to kind of give them credit for that because it's easy to kind of pick those top names when you get the guys with the lesser attention, lesser school names, and they've done pretty well with those guys.
You know.
And I'm not a fan of Colbert or Tomlin, but I give a little credit on the lower half picks.
Yeah. Hey, so Kel, so who would you have them pick in this first round? Have you been following it at all?
I'm with you. And mind you, I'm not a Michigan homer, but to me, Devin Bush is Shazier.
Yes. Hey,
And
Kel.
they need to replace
Kel,
him.
we got 30 seconds before we have to get out of here, man. I hope they get him, but I think, I have draft saying he could be anywhere from 15th to being there when the Steelers get him. I hope we can get him, but we'll see. Kel, I appreciate the call, man. We have to get out of here.
See you later, Kelly.
We'll check you out next time. Peace.
That was always a pleasure.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Kel. Thank everybody for calling in. Luther Dupree, Claudio, Mike, Smoker Jim, get well. Be
Get well,
back
guys.
next month. Peace.